Every actor since the beginning of the craft has had a process. Not everyone is able to jump right in and start being a character. The actors at my college have the Suzuki method, a physical ritual that puts their characters into their bodies. Stanislavski has the literal approach. In order to recreate, you have to do. Marlon Brando, James Dean, Audrey Hepburn, they are a few of many Stanislavski followers. As technology improved, so did entertainment. The moving picture came in and people were able to put voices to the picture. Like puppets, but with more detail. But I wondered, what kind of process does the voice need to become a character? What brings the character on the screen to life?
Hi, I'm Sungwon Cho, and I've been working as an actor, well, I first started maybe 8 years ago, but I'd say I officially, really seriously started pursuing it, let's say a year and a half or 2 years ago. I got my start in acting, doing some radio plays for a friend of mine. At the time, this was back in maybe 2006 or so, I had pretty much no experience with voice acting, but when I did the radio plays, or played the characters for him in his radio plays, something with voice acting just sort of clicked with me, and even after he stopped making them, I figured, you know what, I think I might really be interested in this kind of thing, so I decided to stick with it. My greatest inspiration when it comes to voice acting are the professionals in the field right now who have been doing it for years. Just years and years. Anybody you hear in animation, or, you know, video games, anything involving character voice acting, some of those people have been doing it for, you know, 40 years, 40, 50 years, some of them. They are the standard that I hope to one day achieve. Yeah, they're really incredible. To name specific people, there's people like Frank Welker, who I consider kind of the king of voice acting. You know, Corey Burton, Jim Cummings, Tom Kane. I could just keep going on, but so many great voice actors out there who anytime I hear their work, I am just inspired to improve myself. I'm trying to think if there are any specific methods that get me into character. I don't really have a ritual or anything. Usually all it takes for me is maybe I'll go through the lines of the script and kind of read them, and just as I read the lines and slowly start to pour myself into the character, it just sort of happens. The most interesting part of voicing for me is being allowed to play characters that I normally wouldn't be able to based on my appearance alone. If I were a live-action actor or something like that, there would be very specific character types that I would be a good fit for. I mean, that's just how it works. But with voice work, you're able to pretty much voice whatever you can, the possibilities. There are just countless possibilities in voice work, and it all depends on just how well you can stretch your voice, how well you can change it and reform it. But that to me is what is so fun about it, just seeing how many different characters so far apart from myself that I can play. It's really satisfying. Unfortunately, I can't really offer any advice getting into the real professional voiceover biz, but I have gotten some paid work online through, you know, internet clients, and really, the best advice I could give in that respect, and I think this can apply to any kind of voiceover work, is besides practice, you know, obviously you have to practice constantly, you have to improve yourself, you have to challenge yourself, but another really important thing is you need people to network with. You need, well, first of all, you need to get your stuff out there. I will see so many people who, you know, say they're voice actors, and yet I don't see, you know, a single piece of work from them at all. And it's fine if you want to practice on your own and feel like you're not ready to, you know, show your stuff publicly. But eventually, you need to have feedback from other people. You need to see how others view your work. And also, once you get your work out there, if it gets a positive reaction, like pretty much all the work that I've gotten, the paid work I've gotten, has been a result from somebody seeing something that I put out there and going, "Hey, that was really cool. We want you to, you know, do a voice for our thing." And it's all just a matter of working hard, getting stuff out there, and just, you know, meeting people and connecting with people, and just building those relationships so that you can get more and more work.
I'm Maura Bernie Bernard, known on air as Bernie Bernard, known professionally as Bernie Bernard. How long have I been doing this? Most of my life, since I was 17. I've either been on the air or voicing things or involved in the industry somehow in production. Well, I started in radio. I always knew that I wanted to be in radio from the time I was about, maybe 13 or 14. So I pursued that. I went to LIU Post, it was called CW Post back then, and worked at the radio station, and that's it. First week, I think the second day I was here, made a beeline to the radio station, and started working for doing a little bit of everything, voicing and production and being on air. And then from there, I went to WBAB. So my first shot right out of college was WBAB, which is pretty good. But I knew I always wanted to do it. I wanted to work in radio or some aspect of radio. When you work at a radio station, you're often asked to voice commercials. It's part of your job. It's what you do. Maybe when you get off the air, the production director will say, "Hey, I need your voice for this." Well, they started asking more and more, and I started getting recommendations for outside work, outside of the radio station, paid work. So it kind of snowballed from there, where I was asked to voice things for the radio station, and then found it expanding and going outside of the station into other areas.
Who or what is your greatest inspiration for voiceover?
Voiceover work. Wow. Well, there are a few. Dan Ingram, who was a very big top 40 disc jockey, pretty much in the 60s and 70s. I used to listen to him all the time. He was the voiceover king. I mean, he made millions doing voiceover work. So I listened to what he does and how he does it, the little nuances. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else, any women. Gotta give me a minute to think about here. Dan Ingram was definitely an influence. And sometimes there were other people along the way who kind of catch your ear and you say, "Oh, I like the way they did that spot. I like the way they voiced that. Boy, that was really good." One of my friends, Jim Cutler, is amazing. A great success story from WCWP. And I like to listen to him and the way he does things, the way he approaches things. There's a woman by the name of Melissa Disney. She is a great voiceover artist, and I like to listen to her demo once in a while, and because she'll post it online just to find out what she's doing, how is she doing things. And I guess it's just listening to how people are voicing things, and you'll say, "Oh yeah, I like that. I think I'm going to use that little technique that person's doing." But as far as the big influence in voiceover, I'd have to say Dan Ingram. Well, I think taking one course to get your feet wet would be good if you're just starting out. There are courses here at WCWP that you can take and at LIU Post. From there, I would say practice, always practice. I wrote down a list of things particular to me that I need to remember when I'm doing a voiceover, like don't take too deep a breath, and as you're starting a sentence, don't hit that first word too hard. Act like you're coming in the middle of a conversation. All of these little tips I have on one page, and I read that page before I do a voiceover. So I think find out what your strengths and weaknesses are. Weaknesses, put them down on a sheet so you know every time you go to voice something, you're not going to make those mistakes. Practicing, yes, definitely. And working with a voiceover coach. If you want to be in this business, taking courses is great, practicing is great, but you really need to work with a voiceover coach to give you an idea of what the trends are, because the advertising trends change, and the voiceover coaches know. They know about this stuff, so it's good to work with some, even temporarily, a couple months. I'd say more than a few weeks. I'd say a good few months to try and get you up to speed, because they will find things, little mistakes that you're making, help you with that and try and correct that. After that, trying to find an agent if you want to go for the big bucks and join AFTRA, the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, because all of the big money spots are AFTRA. If you want to work non-union, you can join voices.com and start auditioning on there. If you join, they will send you things in your email, things to read. So you can do these auditions and compete. And if you get the spot, they'll pay you. So they'll give you a little bit of an audition to read, and then if they book you for the spot, they'll have you do the full-length one and then send money through PayPal. So that's a way to get started, too. But taking a course, working with a voiceover coach, practicing, and then joining. There are a few sites. I think voices.com is the best. So join that, and they will critique you, too. And there's Edge Studio, edgestudio.com, where you have a lot of scripts, practice scripts. They are commercials and narrations that are actually commercials that are running, and narrations that people have done for the History Channel or the Travel Channel. And there are a lot of sources out there for you to practice with. But the thing is really trying to get a voiceover coach and just jump in there. When you're ready, just jump in and try. And don't be discouraged, because you will find the one that's right for you. You may not have exactly the right delivery or be the right age or demographic, whatever, but keep trying. And I think you have a lot more places to try. The technology allows you to do things online. You can do things on your computer and send them in, so you don't have to go to a big recording studio anymore. You can be a one-person operation. And go for it. Just get out there and do it. I mean, you can do all the preparation, you can read all the stuff, you can do all the coaching, but then you really need to get out there and compete. So I think that's it. That's what you need to do. I'm still doing that stuff. Sometimes you have to be an idiot. Sometimes there's something you have to read where you have to kind of summon up this character that you didn't know if you could do or not, but it's in there somewhere. And remember, people get paid for acting like idiots. If you go in and do a voiceover and flail your arms all over the place and screw your face up and get some body language into it, whatever you have to do to get the read. So don't be afraid to act like a bit of a jerk when you're doing these.